Hello and welcome back to the Fearless and Fabulous podcast. This is the space where we empower women to thrive no matter their age or their size. I am your host and creator, Melanie Robinson. I am the reigning Ms. Voluptuous Gulf Coast, and I have another pageant queen with me today, and she's from the USA system, my first queen going for a USA title. I have Elizabeth Grimmett here. Say hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Did I say your last name correctly?
You did, which is like it's awesome. Sometimes people get confused. I'm like, no, it's so simple.
Good. I'm so glad. I saw that you are Miss Parker USA, which is a preliminary to the Miss Colorado USA. That is so exciting. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and why you're entering this Miss Colorado pageant?
Of course. So I feel like this is actually my first pageant. I had an ad pop up on Facebook and it was like, hey, you should do pageants. And I was like, oh, okay, this is super random, but why not? And I signed up. And was kind of shocked because the week that I'm competing, I actually turned 35. And
Mm.
so I feel like I'll be significantly older than the girls that are competing. And it just has been a really interesting journey. Trying not to compare myself, which has been kind of hard, and being like, oh, okay, well, I look different. I'm already out of school, so I don't have that kind of way to like boost myself up. Like I'm a scholar. And so it's been really interesting. I've gotten a lot of really great opportunities, and the Miss USA system is I feel like it's very unique from other pageants, less volunteerism based, and just yeah, it's been really fun so far.
That's amazing. This is your first pageant
It
and
is.
you're going to be turning 35. I am so thrilled for you because I didn't really get into pageants until after I turned 50. And it just goes to
Oh,
show that it's never too late to chase after a dream, right?
yes, that's what I keep telling myself because I feel like this year has just been the absolute best year of my entire life. It's like one good thing after another is happening, and I I feel like I've just waited so long for this, and I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I just had to wait until I got to 34 and then things started falling into place.
So let's talk a bit about the comparison factor because it is something I think is natural for any of us to do. Even people who we look up to, I'm sure they compare themselves to others as well. How are you navigating that, knowing that you are probably going to be on the older side of the contestants and being a plus size woman? How do you keep yourself mentally healthy and not fall into that comparison monster trap?
I think it's been I have a lot of imposter syndrome to begin
Mhm.
with. I'm just like, me? You want me to compete for Miss Colorado USA? Like, are you sure? And I've been, posting a lot on social media, trying to promote like the advocacy that I'm doing. And in the meantime, like also looking at the hashtags and looking at the other girls who are competing, which there haven't been a lot that have posted. So I guess it's kind of helped a little bit. But looking at them and just saying like, oh, they're so beautiful, and they really do fit that mold
Mhm.
of being, usually pageant women are very petite and very beautiful and tall, which I've heard they're not all that tall, but they just fit this kind of perfect mold that we've always been told our whole lives, like, this is what you're supposed to look like,
Mhm.
right? And even looking for pageant dresses, I would join communities where girls were reselling their dresses and they're all a size zero. And me,
Mhm.
and it's so hard. And me now, I was a size 12 last year. And now I'm probably more a 14. I just it's hard, when I
Yeah.
order my dresses, I'm like, "Oh, I have to get like a 1XL for it to fit." Um, that's been really challenging, but I think so there's this woman and she was the first curvy Miss Universe and her name's Jane Dipica. I think
Yes,
that's how you say her last name.
Jane, yes.
Yes, she is beautiful and just everything I aspire to be. I have goosebumps right now. She is so brave and bold and just she didn't care. She's like, yeah, I'm plus size, but I'm still worthy. And I think that's what women who are plus size, who are curvier, have to remember. It's, we can all compare ourselves, right? But just because
Right.
you are a curvier woman doesn't mean that you're less worthy than someone who's next to you.
Yeah. And I think I have a mantra where if you can't see her, you can't be her. And I think it's so important for we curvy women or women who are maybe a little bit older to keep showing up on the pageant scene or in the fashion or any type of media because that's what is needed. And when I
Mhm.
saw Jane walk out on the Miss Universe stage as a top 20 finalist, I literally stood up and screamed. It was such a moment. I could not help but think if I had seen her when I was a teenager, how different I would have felt about myself. It was such a moment. And knowing that other women are going to see themselves and know that they are enough, it gave me goosebumps. So I totally was fangirling at that moment.
Yes, and especially, growing up, I grew up in the 90s, was born in 89, and the people that I looked up to were like Lizzie McGuire and like Britney Spears, like all these like teen pop girlies. And even when they were younger, we were told like they were fat, they were too big.
Hmm.
And looking back, they weren't. And
Oh
so
God, no.
it was no, not at all. I'm like, what? What kind of weird standard were we setting? And it would have been really cool to have people my size growing up because I've always fluctuated and fell into that trap of like unhealthy eating, and it's been really hard. But yeah, seeing her has just been an inspiration. The last thing I'm purchasing is my swimsuit for the
Hmm.
competition because I'm so terrified.
Mm,
And I just kind of looked at what she wore and I'm like, maybe I should get a bathing suit that's flattering and I'm not covering up and hiding myself. Because
right.
she owned the stage
Hmm.
with her swimsuit. It was amazing.
Absolutely. I think that is part of the thing that we tend to be taught is that if you happen to be on the curvier side, then you need to hide more. And
Mhm.
I could not disagree more because the more tent like your clothes are, the bigger you look. You need to wear
Yes.
something that
Yes.
embraces the curves and shows off the figure versus trying to hide it under a lot of clothing. It is a hard tape to unwind on our brain, I believe. And
Yeah.
to wear dark colors, don't wear stripes, don't wear this. It's a lot of don't do this
A
versus
lot.
just be who you are, wear what you love, and rock it. And I really applaud you for throwing yourself into the arena because I can understand how it could be a very lonely spot to be. I was in
Mhm.
a international pageant a few years ago. I was the only plus size woman there. None of the sister queens made me feel less than. They were all wonderful, but I could clearly feel that I was the token curvy girl. I was there to show that yes, we accept curvy women, but there wasn't really a feeling of, oh, you are going to be a title holder. It was looking back, I could tell that I was there for more marketing purposes. Do you
Mm.
fear that at all? Or what is your attitude as you're going into this?
I do a lot, actually. There was I don't know if I'm allowed to share this, but there was a video that was shared from the Miss Universe boardroom, and
Yes.
yeah, and it was it was them saying, let in the women who are trans, let in the moms, let in the pregnant women or the older women or the plus size women, but they'll never win.
Hmm.
And looking at the demographic of the women who have won, we're lacking diversity in
Yes.
so many ways. Even with the state pageants, we're lacking diversity, women of color, curvier women. And so in my head, part of me feels like I won't win, even though I would love this because I want to just give back. And that's the whole reason why I'm doing this. And it's, I feel like I have the confidence,
Hmm.
I'm okay and I'm doing good. I'm just like, I want to feel like I matter. And yeah, I feel like that's definitely in the back of my head. That it's a fear of mine that I won't be good enough, or I won't be this vision of what they usually choose.
And I think that's a fair thing to think about considering that video that was released. But I think it's also important to think about how a state pageant, it may be different from the way the Miss Universe world thinks, right? Uh, just recently, I don't know if you saw it, but the new Miss Buenos Aires, she is 60 years old. She
I
just got,
saw,
you
yes,
saw
I'm
that.
so proud. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. It made me feel better.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I am hoping that maybe some countries or some states here in the US, they'll be like, you know what? We're going to walk the walk. We're not just going to just be a bunch of talk. We are going to take the delegate who fits this role the way we see it, that she
Yes.
brings something unique to the table, that she gives back to her community. She has a good platform. We don't care how old she is or what size she is. It's the woman that we want. So I'm hoping we see more of that. And then, maybe Miss Universe has to just kind of realize that this is what we're hungry for. We want to see more different types of women represented. Uh,
Absolutely.
so
That's my hope, definitely going into it. I'm like, I'm doing all the things. I'm giving back. I have this great platform. I I deserve to win. But I don't know. Like, part of me wants to say, like, if I didn't win, I would be kind of baffled, because I am giving back and like doing, it's like you're doing all the things you're supposed to be doing. But I'm enjoying it so much, and I never realized how much I loved volunteering until now. And so
Mm,
it's, part of me is like, oh, I definitely have this in the bag, and then the other half of me is like, but I don't look the way I'm supposed to. And so it's weird. It's like a inner
I get
turmoil.
it. I get it. If I could just say that if you come in with the mindset of I am enough and I offer so much, that you've already won. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because the way I look at it, and I'm competing this summer too, that my life is going to go on after the pageant,
Yeah.
title or no title. And I'm focusing on things that I know are going to keep my life going in a direction that makes me happy. And I can't be so overly focused on, well, what if I win, if I don't win? And I have to live my life like I am winning no matter what
Right.
happens. And that puts me in a much healthier mindset than getting caught up in the competition of it all. Because that's no
Yeah.
fun, right?
It's, and I want to be there in the moment. And I think
Yeah.
that's the most important thing. And you're right, to walk away from it, and even if I don't win, I still won, because I've had all of these incredible experiences.
Well, you touched on your platform, and I have followed you on Instagram and learned a bit about it. Can you please share about what this is? Because I think it's a beautiful tribute that you created. So please let us know what you're doing.
Thank you. Yes, I kind of went back and forth between what I wanted to do, and I've been an educator for so long, and so that kind of felt natural, but I didn't really connect with that, I guess, going into pageantry. And so I started the Randy Hope Foundation, and it's in honor of my brother, who he overdosed in 2016,
Mhm.
Christmas Day.
Oh,
And it was just a shock to my
yeah.
family, and really traumatic. And grief is such a funny thing that it took me about 7.5 years to be okay talking about it.
Hmm.
If I look at pictures, I still cry. So I
Yeah.
realized that about a week ago. And it's to honor him. And I also have another brother who has been homeless on and off for about 17 years. And so I've just seen how the system has failed these beautiful, amazing people around me. And I want to stop that. I want to prevent it. There's no reason why we should have people living on the streets, or going without food or without health care. And so my main goal is, I did a hygiene drive, and so I got all of these goods, and now I get to give them to this amazing shelter who helps women and children. And I I'm just doing my best to help out the community. And so my platform now, where it's at, the website I've built has resources for people. So it has like all of the best shelters in the area, all of the food banks that you could go to that are like highly rated, because it can be overwhelming. You see like hundreds of
Yeah.
options and you're just like, I don't know where to go. Things for people who want rehabilitation and who, want to find a job. There's a resume template I put on there. And so it's an online platform that helps those people. And then eventually I would love a physical location. That's a really big dream of mine that I've had for a couple years, but I just I don't want mental health and all of those things that came along with what happened to my brother to impact other people and for them to get there too. I think it's preventable. We just need
Mhm.
better resources.
I think that's just so beautiful, Elizabeth. And my condolences on the loss of your brother and then the struggles that your other brother is going through. I thank you for sharing that because I think there is secrecy and shame put around those issues, especially those who are dealing with addiction. And there's so many people who are affected by it. My mother was an alcoholic and addicted to pills. And that's something that I couldn't really talk about for a very long time because the fact that there was this feeling of, oh, we don't talk about those type of things. But, thanks to people like you and people, like you, it's becoming less, hidden and coming out of the shadows. And you're creating a way for people to, possibly get their way out of those situations, at least to find a resource. So I think that is so important work, what you're doing. What is it that you mentioned having a physical location someday? Like, what would you envision that being like if you're able to create that?
Yes. So I can't take full credit for the physical location idea. There's this beautiful facility I think it's in Boston, and it's
Mm,
called Rosie's Place. And they have this amazing location where, I would probably want to do this where I live, which is Douglas County, Arapahoe County in Colorado. Um, because all of the people who are homeless here get shipped to Denver and are forced to live somewhere that they're not from. It's really sad. And so
mhm,
having a physical building, there's beds for people that need it, real home cooked food on real plates, not paper plates. There's a closet for interview clothes. There are people there, mental health counselors who can help. There's resume help. There's like mock interviews, all of these tools that people need who are down.
mhm.
I've been there. I've been to the point where I've needed state assistance or been very close to being homeless. And it's I feel like it's too easy to get there,
Yeah.
especially in our country. And if I came from, I'm a first generation graduate. And so it's like, if you come from parents who don't necessarily know how to prevent those things from happening or like how to teach you
Mhm.
because they weren't taught, it's just it's hard, it's really difficult. And so that's my goal. I would love that, kind of like a safe haven for people and a place where they know that they're valued and seen and that they matter. And I think, I've even seen this trying to get donations for the homeless drive. There's a lot of people who look down on people who are homeless.
Oh, yeah.
And what they don't know is a lot of them are veterans, a lot of them have mental health issues, disabilities, um, addiction, which is a disease. Like they don't think of these things. And I just I see them for more than that. They're
Yeah.
beautiful human beings that should be taken care of.
Oh, you are just, you're such a light. I love hearing you talk so passionately about helping other people. And I think about the phrase, there but the grace of God go I. Uh, when I was working as an actor in New York City, I mean, I was struggling.
Mhm.
And I remember times where I was looking through the couch cushions in the little apartment I was in for spare change so I could afford the subway. Like I was literally like living week to week. Like I have X amount of money for this week. That's all I have. And I read somewhere that most Americans, they are living like if they have two paychecks uh stashed for themselves, they're kind of the norm. And if they lose their job within a month or two, they would be homeless. So I think it's important that, we put ourselves in other people's shoes and realizing that it could happen to anybody. It doesn't discriminate against anyone. So I think that's wonderful that you are taking action to help those in your area and to put a human face on the situation. So bravo to you.
Thank you. And I think you're right. We need to understand that I, I have known people who have struggled with addiction that I never would have known had they not
Mm,
shared it, and homelessness. And it's just, I feel like we do need to talk about it more and realize that it impacts so many more people than we're aware of personally in our lives. And I think, I don't know, I want to give so much. And I think that, I don't know, I wish more people were more open minded and were kinder to other
yes.
people, because that can also go a long way. And it's just, it's hard.
And but I think the thing that's something that's easy for everyone to do is to volunteer. If
Mhm.
you don't have the money to donate, you can do some time. I love
Yes.
volunteering. I find causes that align with me, that vibe with me, and I'm doing a similar supply drive that you're doing, Elizabeth. I learned from a or not a homeless shelter, but they're an organization that helps homeless people. And
Mhm.
here in the Gulf Coast, when the summer comes, a lot of their clients, they can't make it back to the main area to take showers. So I'm helping to put together hygiene
Oh.
kits. So they have like some wet naps, some, toothbrushes, little things of deodorant, just something because it doesn't feel good to feel dirty. I
Mm-mm,
don't care
it
who you
doesn't.
are. I mean, nobody likes to look or smell bad. And just having that dignity, I think, is so important. And so that's an example, give to people who are doing supply drives or help box something up. I mean, it's so simple, and it makes a big difference.
It does, definitely. And it makes you feel so good.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just, so I it was 33 degrees when I did my hygiene drive, and I was freezing,
Mhm.
and I was out there for 6 hours. And right at the moments where I was like, "Oh, I wish I could go home. Like, I'm so cold and I'm so tired." I would remember there are people who are on the street in this every single day.
Yeah.
And then right as I was getting like even more tired, because I mean I stood the whole time, but I didn't have to, but I did. Someone would donate something and instantly my like body would warm up and I would be like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" and engage with them. And it was wonderful and it kept me going. And it's easy too. They have websites like Volunteer Match where, this Friday I'm packaging loaves of bread for people. And it's really easy to give back.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people who, like me, I'm not the most well-off person. I still struggle kind of living paycheck to paycheck. And I feel like people like us give back more than people who have a greater ability to, or maybe more money. And it's interesting. I've noticed that as
Hmm.
well. I always say like if I was a millionaire, what I would do, but I'm also not in their shoes. So it's hard. But yeah, I wish everyone would do it at least once because it really does make a difference.
Absolutely. My goodness, I feel like I could talk to you for hours, but
I know this is great.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not, we don't have that luxury of that type of time right now. But can you please let us know where people can find you? Of course, we'll add your links, but what's some social media where they can follow your journey?
Yeah, of course. So I am on TikTok and Instagram at that underscore traveling underscore teacher. And also the Randy Hope FDN. That's my foundation and just it's my baby. So that's where they can find me.
That's amazing. Please follow her journey, cheer her on as she is going for Miss Colorado USA. I know I'm going to be cheering you on. I believe if you can't see her, you can't be her. And I really do hope that whatever happens at your pageant, that you come away feeling like the queen that you are. You have that queen energy, and that others will see the same for you.
Thank you so much. That makes me feel really good.
Well, absolutely. You have such a shining heart, and I know that people are going to see that, not only in the pageant, but around you.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I light up, like I've been smiling this whole time. So I'm really enjoying this journey. It's been incredible so far.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest. And thank you all for joining me here again at the Fearless and Fabulous podcast. Please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you're interested in being a guest or if you know someone who should be a guest. You can also follow me at Melanie Gray Robinson Official on Instagram. Please follow my guests' pages as well. And remember to be fearless and fabulous no matter your age and no matter your size. Until